Hey guys, OGL Binder here, bringing you guys our GDL Season 2 draft analysis. Now, if you're new to the channel, if you're just now stopping in recently and you haven't been here in the last, you haven't been here for a couple months prior, first of all, thank you. Definitely drop a sub if you haven't done so already. But regardless, we played in the GDL Season 1 where we actually made finals. We played very, very well throughout the season on the back of G-Max King, or Dynamax Kingler, not even G-Max, and made it all the way to finals where we unfortunately lost to Leo, or 6-foot hacks. So we're returning for Season 2. I'm hoping that we can, obviously put on a little bit better of a show this season and hopefully take home that title. I think we have a phenomenal team. It's going to be our first Gen 8 Wi-Fi Draft League since, well, actually, I think BBR might be going up before this. Yeah, BBR goes up before this. So BBR will go up first. So this is one of our first, we're jumping in at the same time. Draft league since the DLC drop, which means new mons, new cool move tutors, and we got plenty of both. So I'm really excited to jump into this. And yeah, with that being said, let's get it going. Oh, big shouts out to my buddy Brody, or Odds Are, for the graphics. He did a phenomenal job this season on the thumbnails of the draft slides and all that good stuff. So I'll link in the description below. Definitely go check him out. He makes amazing stuff when it comes to his graphics. Definitely hit him up if you're looking for a logo or a league pack or anything like that. He's phenomenal with it. He's a master with Photoshop. But with that being said, let's finally jump into the draft analysis. Now, going into the draft, we actually had 16th pick, which was dead last, which is good and bad. Obviously, it's bad because we're not going to get to try something super broken. We're not going to get Mew and Gallardice, which we allowed for some reason. We're not going to get to try an Urshifu, anything like that. But we are going to be able to kind of draft cores and draft pairs that really complement each other very well and kind of really structure our team very phenomenally. Despite not getting anything super, super broken, I think we can, with a wheel pick at the end, we can really kind of make a really balanced team that really covers itself really well. And I think we did so pretty well during this draft. But because of that, when we do these, instead of cutting in between each pick, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be kind of explaining the back-to-back picks that I did and then cutting. But with that being said, first pick that we got, we ended up picking up Keldeo. Now, if you know me, you know I freaking love Keldeo. This is one of my favorite mons of the format by far. We had an APA Season 6 where I absolutely loved it, and we had an NCP Wi-Fi Season 1 where it was actually one of the highest kill leaders in NCP history, and it's the highest kill leader for me in a single season ever. We picked up 23 in like 10 games with it. So this thing is literally amazing. I absolutely love Keldeo. It's incredibly strong. Its dual stabs are great. Water and fighting cover each other phenomenally. It gets air slash instead to hit grasses a little bit better, which is obviously super, super nice. It gets calm mind. It gets taunt, so it's a very good stall breaker in that sense. Secret Sword is dope because you can hit on defense base instead of Spadef. So if you're playing against that Chansey and you know it's going to chew up your Aura Spheres, you can throw off a big Secret Sword instead, which is obviously amazing. And another thing that this thing got, which it didn't previously have, and it got during this DLC, which I think makes it amazing, is Flip Turn. Now, if you don't know what Flip Turn does, it is a Gen 8 tutor move since the Isle of Armor came out, where it's basically a water-type U-turn. It's a little bit weaker. It is a physical water-type move, and it's pretty piss weak. I think it's only 60 base power, but regardless, it is amazing for Keldeo. Keldeo forced a lot of switch-ins. There's a lot of things that, Keldeo is very good against a lot of things, but there's also a couple things that just hard stop it. And I think that really helps Keldeo really take advantage of those switches, get the momentum, switch on out, and then get into a threat that really threatens that check and stuff like that, which is awesome. And that's something I really want to go for with this team, is great momentum and, being able to position myself for an endgame where Scarf Keldeo, a Specs Keldeo can really clean up. Obviously, Calm Mind is still an option and will probably come a fair few amount of times, but I think this is really, really nice for it, being able to bait in those grass types and Flip Turn right into our second pick, which is going to be Scizor. Now, I think Scizor is a phenomenal pair with Keldeo, especially because of the fact that it gets Flip Turn now. They cover each other amazingly defensively, where Scizor checks those fairy types and those grass types amazingly. Keldeo checks the fire types and stuff that would really, really threaten Scizor. Scizor also just demolishes the things that Keldeo really doesn't appreciate, and Keldeo does the vice versa for it. So they're going to be amazing. Flip turning and U-turning all over my opponent's team. You got a Tangrowth, go ahead. I'm going to Flip Turn out with my Keldeo, go into my Scizor, and then just get to U-turn for free. Because you stay in, I'm getting a U-turn off on your Tangrowth, and if you switch out, then I'm getting more momentum. And we're hopefully going to put people in the Vortex and really put them in a position where potentially late game we won't have to click Flip Turn anymore. We just click an attacking move, and we are able to clear the game. Scizor offers more than that, though. Just like Keldeo, it can set up. So it gets access to Swords Dance, which is obviously nice. Curse is very decent as well, because we are going to just do Bullet Punch on most things as well if we're set up set. So that's obviously phenomenal. Reliable Recovery. In Roost, it gets access to Defog, which gives us a Defogger, which is amazing. This is great with a Band. It's great with a Resist Berry. I've seen AV Scizor do some work. I've even seen Scarf Scizor do really well before and all that good stuff. So I really do like Sizz. I think it fits phenomenally with Keldeo. And yeah, with that being said, let's jump on into round 3. Alright, so for round 3, I wanted to pick up something that really preyed on the bulky waters of the tier. Now, while Scizor and Keldeo really cover each other phenomenally defensively and offensively, something they don't both deal with very well is going to be the bulky waters of the format, and Rotom is kind of the epitome of that. It switches in phenomenally on them because of the grass typing. It stabs obviously massacre them, and it gives us more momentum with this team. Is going to be the name of the game. We get access to Nasty Plot and Defog and, you know, Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, all that good stuff, on top of just being a great offensive threat to really pressure the things that Keldeo and Scizor really don't like. It gives us a good speed tier in between the two. We're obviously going to need to patch up a little bit more, but I like the 86 speed tier a lot, especially for this team. And Rotom just fits phenomenally in that role, being able to throw out big Thunderbolts and Leaf Storms and Volt Switch, stuff like that. Takes the pressure off of Scizor to be a Defogger, which I did mention, but I think that's very important, not locking Scizor into you know, said option. It's a great choice spawn with Trick. It gets dual screens, which is obviously super nice. Like I said, Nasty Plot. I absolutely love Rotom. It was actually on our team in Season 1 of the GDL, and it did phenomenally for us there, so I'm hoping it does just as well now, and hopefully it can do us proud. Now, after this, another thing I wanted was a good high potential speed tier. I thought that was very important. I wanted something you know, fast off the ground that could really do a lot of damage to some of the checks that my team does not appreciate, and I didn't want to have a million you know, a bunch of pressure on Keldeo to break those steals and all that good stuff. So what I ended up grabbing next was Talonflame. I think Talonflame fits this team phenomenally. It gives us great speed tiers. This thing's obviously blistering fast with the base 126 speed, which is going to outspeed a good majority of the format. Gale Wings obviously is priority when we're at full health with our flying type moves. Is amazing with Tailwind and Brave Bird and Dual Wing Beat, which is actually a cool addition to this thing. Not that it's super strong with it, but it's cool to have a priority option that doesn't take us out of our priority, if that makes any sense. It gets Pivoting and U-Turn. It gets Bulk Up for setup. It gets obviously options to go mixed in like Flamethrower and actually getting access to Hurricane this generation, which is really nice for it because it does not have to go physical. When people think of Talonflame, they think of like, you know, big Brave Birds coming off, but it's not the strongest thing in the world. It only has 81 base attack and 74 base special attack, so it's not a far reach to say, hey, I want to go, you know, special this big. Obviously, is really nice. We get access to Will-O-Wisp, Roost. It gives a good fighting type check. We don't have great answers to fighting types at the moment, so that's obviously really nice in that sense. And I really do like Talonflame on this team. I think it, as you'll see, we get them later on, it really complements the rest of the squad very well. But with that being said, round 5 and 6 coming up next. So going into round number 5, round number 5, I realized I was missing two really important things when it comes to draft, and I wanted to kind of start checking off those, you know, those check boxes and all that stuff. And Drapion is definitely one of those ones that really helped us out because our team up to this point was lacking a grounded poison, and our team up to this point was lacking a dark type. And Drapion ticks both of those boxes, which is obviously phenomenal. This is a great Pokemon. Its speed tier is actually phenomenal for this team, hitting base 95, which is really nice to kind of bridge a gap a little bit between Keldeo and Rotom, which is nice. And we obviously have something faster than 115 with Talonflame, so our speed tiers are looking exquisite right now. They're looking great. It gives us T-Spikes, which is awesome for like bulky Scizor sets and some Calm Mind Keldeo sets and all that good stuff. It gives us a dark type so that we don't lose to bulky psychics, which is obviously really nice for Keldeo. This is another Pokemon that really preys and punishes those bulky psychics from switching into Keldeo's fighting stab like Scizor does already, but it gives us more options for that, which is obviously super nice. It gets Swords Dance, it gets T-Spikes, like I said, good coverage for steel types and Earthquake and all that good stuff. I love Drapion. I think it's amazing in this format, and it's just a great overall kind of mon to get some roll compression and really get that dark and poison type that we needed for our squad to you know, function well going forward. And on the topic of, you know, checking off those check boxes and stuff like that for different roles and stuff like that that we need to fill for our team is going to be a ground type and rocks. Up to this point, we have no hazards besides Toxic Spikes. Other than that, we are hazardless right now, and I really want to get rocks, obviously, to, you know, really punish those teams from trying to pivot around us as we're U-turning and flip turning and volt switching all over them and all that good stuff. So obviously rocks are very important in that manner. So we end up picking up a Pokemon that gave us rocks and a ground type, and Rhydon. This is one of my favorite low tier mons. This thing is so ridiculously bulky with an Eviolite. It's insane. Spadef wise, it's a little bit to be desired, but with that base 120 defense and the Eviolite boost, this thing is taking a physical hit from everything. It's absolutely ridiculous how easy this thing eats hits. It gives us a rocker, gives us setup, it gives us rock polish and sword dance, which is obviously really nice. Edgequake stab, it's pretty much everything in the game. That's why it's known as Edgequake. It covers itself phenomenally, which is obviously amazing in itself. It gets roar to deter setup, which is obviously a really nice. And this is just a great budget pick to kind of cover the rest of our team, giving us that rocks, giving us the ground type, giving us another fire type check to help out Scizor, which is really nice. So it's not all on Keldeo to switch into those fire types. Though we don't want to take a Will-O-Wisp, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Obviously we'll be able to shoot hits from them pretty well. So I think Rhydon and Drapion really kind of help us out in that roll compression and getting us those things we need for our team to really succeed going forward. And yeah, with that being said, let's jump on to next round. So going into the next round, funny story, I wasn't originally going to take this Pokemon you see on your screen. In my head, I really wanted Haxorus. I didn't have a Dragon type yet, and I really wanted that strong physical breaker to really appreciate all this momentum, and I loved it in GDL Season 1, so I thought, why not bring back Haxorus to Season 2? Unfortunately, we did get sniped prior to our pick, and I was kind of stressed because I was looking at Tier 2 because we had not picked up our Tier 2 Pokemon yet, and I was thinking, I don't really like many of the things here at all. But after talking with Jason, Diet Type, for a little bit on what I should grab next, I figured I need to grab my Tier 2 and I need to find out what I like the most. Because if something else gets sniped, I'm kind of screwed because there's nothing else that really fits my build at this point in the game and all that stuff. So I ended up grabbing Dugtrio. Now I know I just drafted a ground type literally the round prior. However, Dougie offers us something amazing, and that's the ability to arena trap everything, and I think that's amazing with all the amount of momentum we have. Oh my lord, Dougie's going to be a menace for teams to prep for, just because of the fact that there's going to be so many shed shells and sugar berries coming for Dougie to obviously stop from trapping, so that the rest of our team can really run rampant. Trapping the steel types, trapping the the poison types, and all that good stuff is obviously phenomenal for us. And our Gmax, which I did have in mind, I knew what Gmax I was drafting at this point. I knew everybody else's and what they were getting, so I knew I was safe in getting mine the last round. But my Gmax in particular loves having Dugtrio, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you'll see it all kind of come together when we draft Dougie. It gives us another rocker, gives us another really fast mon, which is obviously nice. Again, we didn't need the speed tier, and we didn't need the ground type, but it kind of serves a different purpose. I don't really count Dougie as a defensive ground. It's not going to be pivoting to the electric types, because if they click any rogue coverage move, we're dying. So I'd rather have Rhydon to fulfill that role, but it gives us a fast rocker. It gives us that option to arena trap things, which is really what it's here for. And when you see my Gmax pick especially, you'll see why. But however, our next pick is actually a Pokemon that kind of appreciates the trapping in itself, being able to trap the steel types that kind of wallet at the moment, and that's going to be Orbeetle. This is another suggestion by Diet Tight to kind of fill out our team in Tier 4. There wasn't too many things I really liked up to this point. Nothing really fit my build phenomenally. But Orbeetle was a Pokemon that Jay suggested me, and I liked it a lot. It gave us another fighting type check, which again, we don't deal with super well at this point. Talonflame is not the most reliable one, so having a fighting resist is obviously nice. This thing's incredibly bulky. It's decently fast for a support Pokemon as well, which is really nice. It's another Pokemon that gets momentum and U-turn. It gives us a Trick Room option for Rhydon. It gives us Sticky Web for the rest of our squad to really not have to run those choice items, which is obviously really nice in itself. It gets access to Iron Defense and Calm Mind for setup sets, Recover for reliable recovery, Psychic and Bug Buzz and Body Press and all that stuff. So this thing is a phenomenal support Pokemon. It's a great win con in some matchups, like Calm Mind or Orbeetle might do really well in a matchup, but there's a steel type that walls. Good thing we got Dougie now to obviously trap that thing, or force it into a shed shell, to where every time it comes in on rocks and takes a psychic, it's going to be taking unrecoverable damage, which is, again, amazing for us. It's absolutely amazing for us. So I really do like Orbeetle on this team. I wasn't really thinking of it at first, but now that I look at it a little bit more, it's really nice. And again, we're picking up a little bit of a fire weakness in our double bug core, but we do have Rhydon, we do have Keldeo, we do have Dugtrio to trap them. So we have outs and ways to stop that. So I'm not super worried about those weaknesses kind of stacking right there, because the luxury of having that double ground and Keldeo and all that stuff is that we really pressure those teams from wanting to exploit that. So that's obviously phenomenal. But yeah, let's jump into our next round's picks. So round 9 comes along, and I'm realizing I still don't have my Dragon type because the Haxorus sniped earlier on, but I saw one in tier 5 that I really wanted to try and I really think fits the team very well in Drampa. Now I really do like this thing. It's a great bulky pivot, gets access to boost, has great coverage as well. It is able to hit a lot of the things that really check it super well, other than potentially fairy types, but hyper voices are still going to hurt from this thing. It gives us a grass immunity, which is nice with our double ground and our Keldeo, though we do have plenty of things for grasses in Talonflame and Scizor and all that good stuff, but it's great to have like a sleep powder absorber, I guess, outside of Rotom Mo, which doesn't really deal with them super well in itself. But this thing's very solid in that sense. It gets access to great coverage, like I said. It gets access to Sap Sipper. Berserk is another ability that can really take advantage of with really bulky sets. And we do have that Trick Room option in Orbeetle, so we can bring like an offensive Trick Room Drampa to a game that really does well, especially with the option to trap Pokemon with Dictrio. So again, I think that's phenomenal in itself. It gives us a great budget dragon pick, and it gives us a normal type as well, so we have that ghost immunity. While we do have Drapion, it's not the most reliable check to like a good offensive ghost like a Gengar, because it continuously gets chipped throughout the game and I can't pursuit trap them anymore in Gen 8. So it's nice to have an actual immunity, a really bulky Spadefmon. 91 Spadef is nothing to scoff out for this thing, so I really do like Drampa. I think it fits the team very well, and giving us that immunity, giving us that dragon type, which is obviously nice, and just being a good low tier offensive powerhouse despite what people may think about it. So I think Drampa fits phenomenally in this on this team. And then lastly, for our last free pick at the very least, I was looking and there wasn't much that fit. Once again, there really wasn't much that fit, but after some deliberation, I ended up picking up Doublade. Now, I wanted a ghost type to, potentially block spin and all that good stuff. I wanted, a more physically defensive wall, and I think Doublade fits that perfectly. He is very bulky physically defensive wise. Gives us a phenomenal fighting type check. Obviously, we have to watch out for knockoffs, but other than that, it's amazing for that. It gives us good priority. It gives us setup. Very solid mod. It gives us another Trick Room option. I wanted to have that kind of tucked away in the back. So like our last 3 picks kind of give us that Trick Room element, despite the top half of our team being very fast. This is obviously a great option in itself. So double steal, not too big of a deal though, because I like that with Keldeo, obviously pressuring very nice and stuff like that. And this obviously gives good key resistances on our team. And again, Dugging can kind of patch up any of those holes, trapping the Pokemon that, the rest of our team may have trouble with, as a whole. And yeah, with that being said, we got one more round and then a quick little outro. So let's jump into our Gigantamax spawn. So for our Gigantamax pick, we ended up picking G-Max Alcremie. Now, if you look at my team right now, you'll notice we don't have a fairy type, and this fits that perfectly. And I think this thing is amazing. Now, I haven't really gone over the rules of the GDL when it comes to G-Max captains. We're doing it pretty much exactly like the APA, where they cannot hold an item other than a Pokeball. The Pokeball is there just to simulate knockoff damage, which is obviously really nice for it. But we have a Pokeball on this thing, but it's one of the G-Maxes that doesn't really hate not having an item. There are Pokemon that are G-Maxes that really hate not having an item, despite them being really good. The first 2 that come to mind, to me personally, are going to be G-Max Charizard not being able to hold Boots or anything like that, and Gigantamax Lapras not being able to hold, a Light Clay to, really extend its Veil turn, so it kind of, defeats the purpose of it if you click the Veil move on the first turn, and then by the time you're done, you have like one more turn or something like that. So that's obviously pretty counterintuitive in my opinion. But Alcremie's not a Pokemon that it obviously doesn't like not having the item, but it doesn't hate it. It can get along without it. It's not going to, really shaft them on. Its G-Max move, G-Max Finale, is great too. I absolutely love it. I like it more than the Misty Terrain one that the regular Fairy move does, because what it actually does is it forms as like a really boosted up Draining Kiss, healing some of our health when we throw off big hits, which is obviously amazing. And this is the Pokemon that I was thinking really loves Dugtrio being there, trapping the Steel types and the Poison types to really let this thing go rampant. Obviously, it has coverage for both in Psychic and Mystical Fire, but being able to not being forced to run those or not being forced to rely on those to catch those on the switches because we're pretty slow as it is and we're not super physically bulky is amazing. It really lets this thing go rampant. Being able to trap those and even going with like a double dance set with just mono stab is amazing because there is no immunity to Fairy. So if we can trap the things that resist it, we can kind of go with, like a pseudo Reuniclus type set with Astro Armor, Calm Mind, Dazzling Glimpse, Draining Kiss, and Recover, which is amazing. This gives us a Cleric, which I think is really amazing for this team. I really like having that option to heal Aromatherapy off some burns and all that good stuff. And like I said, it gives us a really bulky Fairy type in a G-Max form. and you know, a really scary late game win con if we can, you know, facilitate it and set it up correctly. And I think the rest of our team actually supports it phenomenally. But yeah, that's gonna be our GDL Season 2 team. I actually freaking love this team. I was very nervous while drafting it because of our late position and like nothing cool being left to us. I originally wanted Keldeo Volcarona, but that got sniped like right after Keldeo, which was so sad. But regardless, I think our team is great. I think it covers itself phenomenally. It's a little wonky on paper, but I think it's probably going to be one of my favorite teams I've ever drafted. I really did enjoy building for week 1 with this. And you'll obviously see week 1 next week when we go up against Skyrander and his Scandinavian Scotland. So definitely stick around for that. If you haven't subbed already, please be sure to drop one. We're getting close to 300, and I would really appreciate your support if you did so. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like. And let me know what you think of the team in the comments below. If, you know, what mon you think is really going to pop off this season. Maybe some things you'd change about the squad. I'm totally open to hearing anything. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.